Hello, welcome to Orphan Espresso. I'm Doug.
I'm Barb.
And this is a Lido build in progress. I'm here at my little workstation. Just as a as an aside, when we designed the Pharos, we knew that the first thing people would do was take it all apart. And so we made sure that we had instructions very clearly how to put it back together. With the Lido, we had assumed that people would just grind coffee with it, and we build it in such a way that it really wouldn't have to ever be taken apart. So then there's Texas. We ship these things all over the world. One goes all the way to Macau, no problem. Two go to Texas and arrive with cracked jar lids, of all things. The glass, fine. This plastic part, cracked. So, we need to talk about construction a little bit. Okay. All of these metal plates that comprise the body of this have very tight tolerances on the bolts, except this one. This is the burr and the burr carrier. And it has larger holes. As you see, it can move around. This is the spacer that allows the installation of the bar. And this is the cap, which of course needs to be replaced down in Texas twice. Now, in my basic build here, and you can tinker toy this thing apart all the way down to the bottom, and you can take it all apart if it suits your fancy. But if you should need to deal with any issues like a cracked cap if you're in Texas, and or you do take it apart for cleaning or whatever, this is a basic method. We did mention in our instructions to the only thing that you'll ever do is you will remove the adjustment bar if you want to take out the burr. But I'll just go ahead and proceed with my build here to demonstrate how alignment is achieved and what to do if you do take it apart. We think that you can fairly simply remove this bar, take out the burr, and leave these other two nuts tightened.
For cleaning purposes.
For cleaning purposes, that there'll be no change. But in the case of the way I work this is I just start all four nuts on the bolt. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and I'll start this. Now, you notice I'm working upside down in this case. I'll get this one started. Now, you have two basic steps here. The first step is to align the bearings. This is a 5/16 inch thread. What is it, by 18 pitch?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's a standard 5/16. And this knob I use just for assembly because it's easier than having the crank on there. Well, the first thing I do is to align the two bearings, and this can be done visually. I look and get the rod covers, the bolt covers, and the axle visually parallel, and check it to see that this is free moving. Then these pieces, all of these plates in the bottom, I feel that they are all aligned. Okay, and I push.
You're pushing the burr.
I'm pushing the burr upward until it hits the bar or the adjustment bolt. Okay, you don't do your tightening with the burr all the way down in here. Okay, you all the way pulled into the two burrs not gnashing. You do your tightening with this up. Okay, And so as you can see, it's really easy if you have, I just got this at Ace Hardware, that knob, you know. Okay, so I registered all of those things. I usually use this. It makes it a lot easier. And so I've got it set on the lowest clutch setting. I've got it set on 1. But once again, this is a 11/32. You just kind of go down snug. Now, you don't have to hold on to these. They're pretty much held in place by these nylon covers that we put on there. You don't have to use 2 wrenches, you only have to use 1. So I'll see that's that tight. I'll try to make these the same tightness, not using the nut driver, but so you don't like this. Okay, this is my first step. All right. Now, if you feel that you've gotten this out of alignment by moving the burr carrier around, okay, now I let this down and listen. Turn it, listen, sounds nice. Okay, it's rubbing out along the outside edges. So, now I need to find my 0. If you're simply if you're changing the cap, changing the jar lid, you will note where your 0 is. You'll note the orientation of the bar, because if you put the bar on backwards, the threads won't be in the same place. So it's to maintain your 0 setting, you have to put it together exactly the same way you took it apart. But you also do this while holding it in this position and not moving these parts around. Okay? So let me go ahead and proceed to my spot. Okay. This, push up, and it's still rubbing. Push up, and it's still rubbing. Push up, and it's not rubbing. Now, it's going to get tighter when you do your final. So this is my 0. This, of course, is going to be completely incomprehensible and make absolutely no sense. Since you aren't the one that's building it, you're just trying to put it back together, or doing a Hail Mary because you feel like you did something screwy and got the alignment all messed up. So here's my 0. Put this back down. Okay, I push up. Okay, nice and free. I come to this position, still nice and free, so I might as and there it's rubbing. But it's going to retighten once you finish this. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to loosen this and really tighten these down in a crossways pattern. Really, you give it a pretty good torque, because there's nothing that's going to be changed. Okay. See, hear that?
Just a little whisper.
A little whisper, that's my 0. There's a quarter turn. I'll push up. Completely quiet, okay? No rub. There's a rub at 0. No rub at a quarter. Okay?
And sometimes the 0 setting, the actual...
See, I can go lower than 0 if I want to. See, I can go down. There's a quarter below 0, but
has a little more sound.
More rub. I can go even farther down. More rub.
So you want to set your 0 is a quarter turn tighter.
Quarter turn tighter
than a whisper.
Quarter turn tighter than free. Okay? Now, as we wrote in an email to one of our Texas friends, the method to do this, note the position of the bar. You might want to take a Sharpie and put a little mark here on this part here, on the outside of the out here, so you can make sure you put the bar on in the same position. Note the position of the brass washer, which denotes 0. And
try not to move the plates.
Yeah, you'll do your work holding it this way in your hand, You remove the bar, remove these other two, lift this off, put your new jar lid back in place, and tighten just as I showed you. You tighten once, and then check, and listen. Then you tighten the second round, and as you saw, pretty tight. Really, really torqued down, so there'll be no changes. Theoretically, you won't have to get in and do any of this work for a long, long time, but if you should need to, or if you should want to, as you can see, it's a fairly simple build. You need to keep track of where everything was. If you should lose track, you can always get it back with your quarter setting. And I forgot to note one thing. This bar is the opposite orientation of the bearings. See, my bearing straps are that way.
Bearing strap is across here, and the bar
Is the opposite.
is the opposite direction.
The bar is the opposite. That way, the zero mark always ends up on one of these two bolts, not on the strap. That's just the geometry, the way it works out in all the threading. So that's a little bit of the sausage making on the Lido build. If you should ever have to do it, you know, everything can be redone. And if you live in Texas, you should talk to your postal service and ask them why in the world they keep cracking our darn caps. So there you go. Thanks for your attention.